Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. Just after I published my video on the 14th of August where I saw the 9 Cybertrucks here at the outbound lot, and then again on the 16th of August where we got a chance to see one supercharging with the doors open, there has been a lot of Cybertruck sightings all around the world. So I thought I would take this opportunity to show you some of these sightings over the last 7 days around the United States, over in Iceland, and in other parts of the world. It's just an amazing phenomenon, and I think it really is a great indication that we may be seeing a Cybertruck delivery event in the very near future. So let's take a look. On the 15th of August, Efren Coelho of the Tesla Facebook group and also Brandon Fleisch on X posted these images of Cybertrucks loaded up heading off to crash testing, apparently, going through Arkansas. And of course, on the 16th of August, you'll remember this now famous image of the Cybertruck driving around the factory that I caught and doing that famous U-turn. Then on the 17th of August, the Kilowatts on X posted these images. These are the 9 Cybertrucks that I caught on the 14th, loaded up and driven across the country over to the Fremont factory, and I think these are getting ready for crash testing as well. Next, on the 18th of August, thanks to Gregor on X, we got a chance to see this image and video of 3 Cybertrucks driving at ground level here at Giga Texas. And this is pretty neat to see this many Cybertrucks driving around at the same time here at the factory. Now on the 19th of August, Jeff Roberts was flying, and as you can see by the 3 images on the left-hand side of the screen, the Cybertruck was doing some testing over at the Wade pit. In addition to that, he captured 2 Cybertrucks on the south end doing what looks to be some kind of work. Now, for those of you not familiar what a Wade pit is, I did cover this in detail in my 9 August 2023 video, so I would recommend you take a look at that so you can get some more information about why they were doing the testing over at that pit. Also on the 19th, Jeff Roberts captured 2 more Cybertrucks supercharging at that East Testing and Calibration lot. And on the 20th of August, Brad Sloan captured 5 more covered Cybertrucks in the outbound transportation lot. Pretty cool. Now on the 20th, also on X, CRAR posted this image and video of what appears to be a photo shoot of the Cybertruck over in Iceland driving around in some beautiful scenery and on a glacier, and this is most likely for a promotional video, so I can't wait to see what that looks like when it's completed. And then also on the 20th, Stephen Fowler 67 over on TikTok had a sighting of these Cybertrucks loaded up, and this is in Missouri. Not sure exactly where they're headed, but Stephen seemed pretty excited to see these Cybertrucks. And finally, we just got this on the 21st of August by Gregor on X. This is a video showing Cybertrucks leaving New Zealand. And as you may know, they've been over in a testing location in New Zealand for winter testing. And this video by Cybertruck New Zealand gives you a really good idea of what that testing looked like. So Cybertrucks have been very busy all over the world. So there you have it, a lot of Cybertrucks being seen all around the world over the last week, including here at Giga Texas. I hope that you enjoyed this review and what we discussed. So let's get ready to fly around the site and see what is going on at Giga Texas today. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Good morning from the east side of Giga Texas. We're taking a look at the site for the multi-level parking garage, and there's still a lot of work going on here to prepare the site. On the left-hand side of the screen, that kind of curving channel, that's being filled in. That used to be the old outfall channel for the sedimentation basin, which you see in the upper left-hand corner of the picture. And instead, they've had the diversion that goes around kind of in a square right underneath the drone. We see some of the middle section with some gravel being applied. And then here we can see the crews installing the diversion pipes that will rechannel the water coming out of that big sedimentation basin on the upper left through this area and then around this diversion. Also, we can see here another section of this site that has been expanded. All of this area has had the trees removed, and you can see there's quite a bit of earthwork that's going on here. And we'll come back and get a slightly different perspective of this area later in the video. But this pullback image will give you a really good idea of where this is located and the tree belt that's near where this location is as well. Now we're going to fly over the multi-level parking garage construction site and give you just a slightly different view of how it looks here. We're going to approach the east side of the main factory now, and I'll zoom in and I'll give you some good views of some of the activity that is going on over here. Now this large door where you see the Model Ys coming out, this is interesting. It was the temporary end of line until it was moved to the west side, but now we're starting to see Model Ys and Cybertrucks come out of that section. So there may be an internal change to how the end of line routing is happening right now. There's a lot of materials that continue to be redelivered here, prepared and moved inside various sections of the factory. And this is a really good view of all of that. We can see the white stain on the wall continues to work to the north. And at the bottom of the screen, crews are working to install more rebar for this concrete section of what will be the road that will proceed to the north from here, connect into the existing road that parallels the factory, and then this concrete intersection will move off to the left where it connects to the River Road extension that goes underneath the South Bridge and over to the West Support Facility. This is also a really good view of some of the activity that's going on here on the south end, everything from the CFA pile drilling operation to also some new concrete that's been put in the Stamping 2 extension portion of the building. At the bottom of the screen, paralleling the south end of the River Road where the vehicles are going back and forth, we can see more earthwork continues in this area, getting this all ready for the next stage of construction. Also, most likely those small power lines to be removed soon as well. So I'll reposition the drone, I'll bring it down and give you a closer look at some portions of this site that we were just talking about. And as we fly over the cyber pond, I'm going to come up next to where these rebar cages have been assembled recently. We also see these box structures which form the top of the footings where the columns will eventually mount, and that'll be what they use to put the concrete. On the left, we can see those cylindrical rebar cages with the workers sitting on them, and there is work with the drilling operation today. On the right-hand side, we see some of these white components. I had a viewer think that this might be part of a conveyor system. Not really sure, but it's something that I'll just watch and see if we can tell where they were moved in. Looks like there's a crane and a delivery on the right-hand side of the screen. More trucks delivering items here to the southwest corner of stamping. The large crane that's used for wall panels is still parked over here for right now, kind of idle. And as we continue to turn around, we can see this pump truck on the bottom. It just finished up its work. And what it was doing was it was pouring the concrete slab here for the Stamping 2 extension. You can see it was just completed. The crews have just finished or just finishing up flattening it out and smoothing it over for it to start curing. And then the other section with the yellow moisture barrier is getting some of the rebar delivered right now. They will be installing this rebar and preparing it for the concrete pours. Now I'm having to get in a little bit close here because of the crane right behind the drone, so I will bring it back down now that I know that I'm clear, and I'll give you a different perspective on the work that's going on here. Clearly you can see that yellow vapor barrier or moisture barrier and the delivery of the rebar, the form around this section as well, and the just completed section gives you an idea what this will look like when it is completed. So a lot of activity here at Stamping 2. As I pull back away from the building, I'll give you just some idea of the activity, equipment, and some of the materials that are being stockpiled here in the center section. And then I'm going to come up closer again. It looks to me like there are concrete wall panels on the ground here. And I don't know if this is going to be installed maybe as temporary panels or or what they're actually doing. I'm presuming that they are concrete panels. They may be temporary panels that are put where the steel studs are. But anyway, a lot of activity here on that south wall going on this morning. Here we see some green and blue items next to these white pipes. These are starting to be delivered here on this side of the building. Again, the cut-out concrete circular sections on the left, that was part of that underground well. All the windows that have been stored. And then here's a good zoom in just to give you an idea of the activity that's going on here on the southwest corner section of the building and what the crews are doing. We can see those materials on the bottom right. Those are the steel studs that they're using to fill in the gaps. And then here at the temporary platforms, we see some deliveries being brought into the second floor, also the third floor. A lot of crates just been delivered here in the bottom middle of the screen. You can see trucks, the accordion trucks bringing even more of them. And then we have this large white and red section of equipment that's being delivered. I would presume that in those other accordion trucks, there's similar equipment to this being delivered. And all of this is being moved up to the third floor here at General Assembly using that crane. And here's a slightly different view of this material. And we have actually seen similar material like this delivered here previously. About a week and a half ago, I captured very similar looking item being delivered here. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but just the amount of material that continues to be brought here is absolutely amazing. So let's cross over the highway and we'll resume here on the west side, where we see right in the middle of the screen more of that earthwork continuing, where they're raising up this grade and trying to get it so it's level between what we see here and also behind us, the west warehouse on wheels. This is the end-of-line facility. I will zoom in and give you some closer views of the activity that is going on today. A lot of trenching. We can see that white piping that has been installed in the trenches. In the upper left, we see some of the steel items that I think are part of the superstructure for this building. More excavation work going on. And then here, a very large section of ground slab is being prepared. The yellow vapor or moisture barrier has already been installed. An extensive amount of the rebar has been installed right now. And if you look at the workers and compare that to the thickness of this slab, it's actually pretty thick, a pretty reinforced slab, which is very interesting. Of course, we see that section with a lot of the white pipes sticking up. That used to be a big excavation. Now it's all been filled and compacted back in. And with this work on the slab, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of that kind of reddish brown steel showing up over on this section of this facility very soon as the structure goes vertical. So I'll leave you with a few more views of this construction site, and we'll resume the narration on the other side of the highway. Now on this side of the highway, there's a few things I want to point out. One is we can see this white Model X here in this landscape section, and it's part of a display that has been here for, I don't know, about 4 or 5 days. And then here we can see a lot more materials for the General Assembly lines 2 and 3 have been delivered into this section again. All of this is being used to build out those 2 new General Assembly lines inside this part of the building. The west main entrance architectural feature here with the beams and columns continues to get the stainless steel cladding. You can see some of them actually have the corner units now installed, specifically the third in from this side, and it looks like more of them are being prepared for a final assembly as well. So this is really coming along. Now, one of the things I want to show you is very interesting is the white tents here have been removed, and this is part of where the end of line is located. And it looks like there's not a whole lot of activity going on right here. And we did talk about that other door on the east side of the building. So I don't know, again, if they've done some internal rerouting of the new vehicles. So something I'll continue to watch. On this section near the 4680 battery cell production area, we see a lot of the crates that were delivered a week ago now have been emptied. Mostly, there are some that have materials, but all of this is going inside the 4680 production portion of the factory. And here's a good look at some of these items. Not exactly sure what they are, but if you know, let me know in the comment section. Well, here we see more of that equipment that's been delivered, and all of this again is part of building out and expanding the 4680 production capabilities here at Giga Texas. So again, a lot of interesting deliveries, particularly to this particular section of the factory, also on the north end, and we'll get a chance to see some of that a little later in the video. But I'm going to fly up over the roof section, and part of the reason why I'm doing this is I want to check on these vents and some of these mounts that were just installed on the left-hand side of the screen. Not a lot of changes going on in the last, let's say, month on that installation. But while we're here, I'll bring us down on the east side of the casting machine structure. This is a slightly different view than I normally show you. You can see the conduit work continuing along near this berm, going all the way around over to connect to the building, and then through the parking lot at the upper part of the right screen. This is where it goes up to the electrical switchyard and the mega pack. And then these vaults, you can see more work going on to string a lot of the wires through that conduit that has been installed. As we wrap around to the north side of the building, there's a couple of things that I would just want to point out as we continue flying, and most of that has to do with this activity near the 4680 production cell. We see an accordion truck just going underneath the screen that's bringing some more equipment. We see these large boxes that were delivered a few days ago. We also see those blue items, those blue containers. That's actually ice and drinking water for the workers. And then we also see some steel items on the ground, and some of that is being picked up by the crane and moved inside. And then at the end of the video, or at my end of my flight, I was able to see even more equipment being delivered to that section. So all of that 4680 production increasing capabilities is really taking a lot of activity going on right now in that section. As we come over to the Megapack site, we can get a good look at some of the activity that is going on here. First off, the perimeter fence continues its assembly. It's now on basically 3 sides, and it continues to move to the north. We see the Megapacks themselves, a lot of the red, orange, and yellow wiring on this section still being installed. Most of the rest of it has actually been completed now, which is excellent news. We can see with this close in the work that's going on with these kind of square circuit breakers on these 6 smaller concrete stands. Also the steel items that have been installed, the insulators, other electric equipment, the transformer, and also here to the north, more of the conduit that is leading up from the Megapack all the way around over to the north end of the electrical switchyard. So that work is definitely continuing at a pretty quick pace as well. Here's a better view of the transformer, some of those V-top circuit breakers, and some of the other assembly here. We also see some of those breaker bars kind of on next to these 2 steel poles on the left-hand side of the screen. And overall, it just looks like a lot of activity continues to try to complete this installation of the Megapack site. So as I zoom back out, this gives you a good overall view how this looks today. Some of the trenching on the bottom right, some of the trenching here under the power lines extending over to the south side of the electrical switchyard, where we see the underground vault construction continuing. All of the concrete is now completed. They are removing most of the rest of that temporary retaining wall. 2 of the eventual 3 white trailer control rooms have been installed, and we see a new section of trenching here in the middle bottom of the screen as well. Most likely this is to extend the conduit up into this section from the east side. You can also see at the bottom of the screen many of the forms have been removed from the structure. It's got some of the moisture barrier around the concrete walls for this underground portion of the vault, and they're filling in more and more of the trench. to complete this installation. And as I pull back, this gives you a good idea of its location in relation to the Megapack site and the conduit work that is going on. So let's fly over to the battery cathode plant and take a look at the activity at that complex of structures. I like this view because it gives you a good sense of how the die shop and west of the battery cathode continues to widen and encroach into the Martin Marietta site, which is continuing to shrink. Now here on the north end, there's a lot that I want to talk about. First of all, we're going to continue to fly to the northeast. I want to show you the work that's going on here on the left-hand side of continuing to clear this section and also prepare the north end for eventually a road that's going to be constructed right about here underneath where the drone is located. But we also get a good sense of how much dirt is being excavated here. A lot of it's being moved down to the east multi-level parking garage construction site, but also the grade here is overall being lowered and leveled out as well, plus a lot of trees that have been removed. So it's interesting to see just the development of this particular area, and you can get a good sense of the number of trucks all in line to pick up the dirt. So it's a pretty large operation redistributing the dirt from here over to the east multi-level parking garage site. This gives you a good sense of the equipment, the items, and those two stainless steel tanks still stored in this particular section near the northeast of the battery cathode plant. And this is an interesting location as we go across this small pond. You can see that blue item with those 4 posts sticking up. This is in the area where it is permitted for a lift station to be constructed. And it also looks like they're using this to pump a lot of water out of the area, possibly because of the high water table. But there's also some new trenching, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen here, where it looks like some of that black HDPE pipe is now being installed through the middle part of these two structures and up to that area. On the north end here, we see a new concrete apron being prepared in front of that larger receiving door of the battery cathode plant. And then here is a good view of the entire east side, starting with the cell test lab, the small steel structure on the left. Most of the steel corrugated pipe for the water management has now been put underground around that structure, and most of the work is on the inside. This is that wade pit. Looks like it's empty today. On the 19th, this is where Jeff Roberts captured some images of the Cybertruck driving through this area with water in it as part of testing. I don't know if they were testing the Cybertrucks or the wade pit itself, but nevertheless, it's good to see that being used. Here, the crash test lab continues to have developments. We see the 2 red and white Model X's that'll be used as test vehicles to test out the operation of this crash lab at some point. We can see some of the vehicle lifts inside that rounded structure. And I also decided I will show you over here at the cathode plant, this large opening, the continued assembly of the third of the 3 tall, probably all 7-story tall platforms with the equipment inside. And it looks like they've got 2 of the levels on. It's already on the rails, so I don't know if they're waiting for another delivery or if this is the height of this particular one. It looks like there's provisions for more height, but we shall see. This is a good view as I pull back of the crash test lab with that large steel structure. Also, some of the corrugated pipe underground that's part of the water management system. As we come back in closer, we see that there's some trenching operations on the left-hand side, and it looks like there's a trench box inside that trench for the workers to install new equipment in there. And then I've also been told by many viewers that this steel structure is really meant for lighting and also for cameras, all to document the crash. And you can also see that kind of H-beam on the ground. That's where the crash wall itself will be, and then the pit will be other cameras as well. So this site is really starting to transform and get closer to being operational. Again, there's that trench that I mentioned that they are working at with that kind of a rectangular excavation right next to the metal structure, which is the machine room that pulls the cable that will pull the cars to hit the crash wall. But this is a really good view of the south end of the cathode plant, some of the east side, and now what's going on here in the alleyway and of course the die shop. I'll zoom in here just to show you. It looks like there is some deliveries and some work on this, what I think is the main entrance location on that corner. More of the trenching that we mentioned before with some of the piping that goes up to the lift station. Here, as we go over the nitrogen tanks and vaporizers, I want to give you a good view of the activity here, not only on the roof with all of those pipes, heat exchangers, pumps, and tanks, but also how the two stainless steel tanks look right now. The other two, we saw the northeast corner waiting for further installation. It looks like there's some more work going on the ground level as well. And then this is a really good view of the amount of machinery and equipment on the ground floor, and with the workers nearby, this gives you a good sense of scale again for this. Now on this north end, we see those green adapters for the pipes, also those blue pipes with pumps, and again, I think that they are doing some pressure tests of the system as they continue to finish installing all of the equipment. As I pull back to the north, just trying to give you a good view of this west side, and again, some of the activity with the HDPE pipe on the left, also the stainless steel, or the steel corrugated pipe on the right for the underground water management system. And then as we go over this small workshop, I'm going to get close in and zoom into this structure on the sort of the northwest corner of the die shop. Again, I'm not sure 100% what this is, but I've had some viewers think that this may be a kiln or a furnace of some type, possibly used for heat treating of equipment, maybe the dies themselves or some other items that are used in this factory. I don't know, but it is interesting to see the box-like structure. It's got platforms on either side, and then it's got another separate roof segment on top of it. And you can see that silver pipe kind of exiting this side going up onto that platform. So again, I'll continue to watch this and hopefully we'll figure out exactly what this is for. But if you know, let me know in the comments. I would appreciate it. Here on the west side of the die shop, we see that there is work going on in and around where these windows are, although I think that they're working on maybe some of the heating and ventilation ducting inside, but I don't know, maybe we'll start seeing windows here pretty soon. As we fly up over this part of the material staging and the overflow lot, we can see the TKS paint system items continue to be here waiting for installation, although the TKS trailer has been relocated now. And then many trailers here, some of them vehicle transports waiting for their turn to go over and pick up some of the new vehicles. As we approach the new car staging and transportation lot, I would like to show you a couple of video clips that were taken yesterday here at Giga Texas. And what you can see by this video by Art and Aiden Guajardo posted on X is that there are 8 Cybertrucks, 4 of which are already located on a transport, and that's the first time that we've seen 4 Cybertrucks on a single transport, and then there were 4 others in covers. Now, the interesting thing is about an hour after these videos were taken, all 8 of them had been loaded up onto 2 transports and had departed Giga Texas, and some of these were actually seen around Austin by other viewers and posted on X as well. But I wanted to show you this not only because it's a ground level shot of the new car staging and transportation lot, but also what the Cybertrucks looked like yesterday. And all of these departed the site obviously before I got here today. So today, this is what it looks like, and in that empty section kind of in the upper right of the screen is where that event took place, and those videos were taken as well. So thank you very much to Art and Aiden for those videos, and it gives a really good different perspective of Giga Texas. Now, as I mentioned, I'll give you a closer view of some of the work that's going on at the East multi-level parking garage site. What we see right in the middle of the screen is this added section that has had all of the trees removed. A lot of the dirt's being brought in from the northwest of the cathode plant. They're also removing some of the dirt around the perimeter to try to get that all leveled out for construction. The new car testing and calibration lot is active again today. It's thinning out less and less vehicles, and on the right-hand side you can see the Model Y going through that test loop, and then next to it is some trenching work with some blue pipe that's serving where the multi-level parking garage will be. As you can tell, there are no Cybertrucks over here, at least at the time of flying at the superchargers. And then here at the East main entrance, I'll pause the video quickly just to show you, this is where that full lineup with the Cybertruck image by Gregor Truck that was posted on X on the 19th was taken, right here at the East secondary entrance of the factory. So pretty cool. What we can see here is more of the work with the new receiving docks, the load levelers in green, and continued work on that apron in front of those last 6 receiving docks on the left-hand side of the screen. As we pass over here where that black truck is, that's where the conduit is going into the building and wrapping around this apron. And then here's a good low altitude view of the east side of the casting machine structure, again with the activity on the outside and also on the inside where they're continuing to install a large kiln or furnace in the center bay of that section. So overall, a lot of activity yet again here at Giga Texas on this Monday. And despite temperatures and trying to ramp up vehicles, there's just so much construction going on here as well. So I hope that you enjoyed the intro talking about some of the Cybertruck sightings, some of the updates as well, and the information around the site. As always, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of the week.